Hey there, it's Ashley here. Welcome back to Createful Art. The sun is out, the sun is shining, and I thought it would be fun to create a translucent painting to put in your windows. See, there is no backing. You can find a frame like this. In the description below is a link to all the supplies that you need, including these Pebeo paints. I'm going to show you how to use them. This is the Mixed Media Discovery Set. So there are several different kinds of the Pebeo paints in this set, and we're going to use them all in this painting. And so it's going to be really fun discovering how they look, how they work, and I'm super excited to get started. So are you ready to get started too? For your convenience, I have a link to the complete list of supplies I used in the description below. Step 1. Preparation. I got a glass frame with no backing called a float frame. I'm going to use the glass in this frame as my painting surface. There are two pieces of glass in this frame. One of them I will not paint on, and the other I can paint another painting or place it over this one. I want both of the glasses to be very clean, so I'm going to clean it thoroughly with some glass cleaner. I like things to be organized, so I'm going to take out all my paints and organize them in categories. The paints are labeled and you can see what they look like on the side of your box. This box has 4 different categories of paints: the ceramics, the vitrails, Fantasy Prisme, and Fantasy Moon. They all look really cool. I'm super excited. The next thing I need is mineral spirits. Even though I'm using odorless mineral spirits, I make sure to keep the area I'm working in well ventilated. None of these paints or mineral spirits are safe around pets and kids, so be aware of that. I'm going to place my mineral spirits in a glass jar because plastic is not safe and the mineral spirits will ruin a painted cup. Pebeo paints are really runny, so I'm going to paint on a flat surface. I want to make sure I have my flat table protected under my glass, so I place a paper towel under the glass. I also will place a towel under all of my brushes and droppers to keep my table clean. I also want to try mixing some of these paints together. Some of the paints dry quickly and others take time. I don't want them to dry to the surface of my plate, so I'm using parchment as my palette, and since it is a super runny medium, I am placing it on my non-flat plate to keep it contained to the center. Now you're all set up, let's start creating. Step 2. Painting. We're at the fun part. We're going to create an impressionistic flower painting, meaning that we are just going to give the impression of flowers and not worry about details or making the flowers look real. Let's start with the ceramics. I have red and a white colored ceramic paint in this box. They're going to be opaque, so I won't be able to see through the paint. I don't want them for a huge portion of my painting, so I'm going to use them for my flowers. I also decided that I'm going to paint the flowers with the ceramics because I need several values from light to dark, and the ceramic is one of the only whites. I'm going to paint poppies. I will use these paints to be the flower, but I will also use the other red Vitrail for transparency in some places. The Vitrail colors dry completely translucent, so they are see-through, which will look beautiful on the glass surface, giving it a stained glass look in a window. We have crimson, apple green, lemon, and a lightning medium to work with. I'm going to add yellow in a few areas, but I want to use mostly the green. I discovered I prefer the Vitrail red in the reddest parts of my flower, and that the lightning medium wasn't very useful for this specific painting. This is an impressionistic painting, so I'm just giving the impression of green leaves and stems. Pebeo has glass outliner you can buy to get a different stained glass look. I really want to use that in another lesson. Otherwise, the vitrails are very runny and they mix together. I used the end of my brush to draw lines for stems, but other than that they just kind of mixed. Okay, so the Prisme paints that we have in our box are opaque, so they are not see-through and they dry shiny, sparkly, and with a texture that kind of looks like bubbles, but not cracking. So I have gold, blue, and gray to choose from. I'm going to use the blue in the sky
and then the gold to highlight some areas that I don't want translucent, and the grays look like it might be my darkest value I have to choose from. So that is what I will use for shading and contrast. Don't worry about following my painting exactly, just play around with this painting. It isn't about making flowers, it's just about the impression of them, so yours are going to look different than mine, and that's great. The moon fantasies are also opaque and they're pearlescent. I have gray, blue, and white. The blue and the gray match the Prisme colors, so I'm going to use what I want for a pearl finish. The white fantasy I'm going to use alongside my white ceramic as my lightest value, but they don't mix. The pearls really stand out too. They look really pretty. Once you're done with your painting, don't move it because it runs, and let it dry overnight. It was solid in the morning when I let mine dry overnight. Now you're ready to show it off. Step 3, display. Stick the glass painting back in the frame. I probably did not need the other glass piece to go over the painting because it dries really solid and it has some texture for the light to bounce off it, and I like that. But I have the glass, so I'll just put it over it for now. I loved putting it in my window with the light shining through it, and I love the translucent shiny look. These Pebeo paints were really fun to work with. I loved playing around with them. I think I will do several art lessons with these, so head over to createfulart.com, the link is in the description, and get some of your own to use with me in the future, and let's see what we can create. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and leaving comments to this video. Check out my previous lessons on how to paint a rose with oil paint. In the next lesson, we create some St. Patrick Day art to put in your house. Make it all pretty. See you next time.